Monster Hunter Wilds has a ton of different things that you can learn while playing through the game, and some things you might actually miss because there's just so many details in this game, and there's a lot going on all at once, especially when you start going through low rank, and when you beat the campaign you then get thrown into high rank, and there's just so much stuff that you still have to learn based on low rank and also high rank, so there's a ton of stuff that you might have missed. First of all, when you get to high rank, you are going to need to start actually leveling up your hunter rank, which is then going to be the basis of high rank until you start doing the endgame grind once you unlocked everything, because the campaign ends in chapter 3. However, there are 6 chapters to the story, so you'll be leveling up your hunter rank, and as you do that you'll unlock a bit more story and continue leveling up. The best way to actually level up your hunter rank is by doing side quests, and these side quests can be something like go and hunt down this bug, go and fish for this certain fish or mollusk, whatever the hell it is, and some others will be like please hunt this monster. Now, if you are trying to level up your hunter rank as fast as possible, you want to make sure you focus side quests, which will have you hunting down monsters. And the reason why you want to do this is because monsters will give you XP for defeating them towards your hunter rank, but then so will actually handing in the quest once you've completed it. So sure, you can go and do some fishing, which will only give you a little bit of XP because of the fish, and then you can obviously get the big load of XP from handing in the quest, but hunting a monster is huge XP, and so is handing in the quest. So always focus down any side quests that ask you to hunt down a monster. And of course, there are also a ton of online tools to help you with build crafting. This will help you decide what armor you want, what weapon tree you want to go down. So you can probably find these online just by literally typing Monster Hunter Wilds armor tree or weapon builds or anything like that. You can usually find these type of calculators. These are a great way to actually start figuring out how the damage mechanics work in the game and to see which armor pieces will affect your build if you actually want to swap things up. Now, another cool tip I have for you is when you're in hunts, the monsters like to roar a lot, and a few of you might actually be annoyed by this, that when a monster roars, you basically just get stunned and you can't really do anything. Now, you can actually perfect dodge a roar, so you can just dodge straight through it and keep attacking like the monster hasn't even bothered roaring at all. Now, in Monster Hunter as well, I know a lot of players have always wondered, should I capture the monster or just straight up kill a monster? Now, in Monster Hunter, capturing a monster will usually give you a few more rewards, and killing a monster usually only gives 3 if it's a normal sized monster. However, Monster Hunter Wilds introduces the wound system, which is absolutely fantastic. You want to actually just focus down the wounds, because when you destroy a wound, you will actually then start to get more drops. Every time you destroy a wound, a drop appears basically. So it's not just a worry about having to capture or kill, you kind of want to do whatever easiest and fastest for you, because while you're focusing down these wounds, you'll actually be getting more parts than ever before. So you don't have to really worry about capturing or killing a monster in this game. Now, talking about loot, small monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds also matters. There are a ton of different monsters that you can find, which they like to call small monsters. Now, these are things like the Bulakchi, the Buenos, the Ceratophnophs, or whatever they're called, the Taliophs, which you're actually shown at the start of the game, the Gaijos, which are the crocodiles in the water, all sorts of annoying creatures that usually will come up to you and just do a bit of damage or just be very annoying. Things like the Vespoids, for example. Defeating these monsters will have them drop parts that you might need to actually craft some high rank armor later on, and for example the Vespoid itself does actually have a full Vespoid armor set, which you'll only unlock by actually farming Vespoids, so you do want to start going after the smaller monsters too, because these will drop all sorts of parts. Now, you can actually come into your field guide and hover over them, then go to the second page of the monster, and you can actually see what materials it drops. For example, the Bulakchi in low rank will drop Monster Fluid, Bulakchi Shell, Mystery Bone, and Honey, and something like the Blango will give you Blango Pelt Plus and Colossal Bones. Something like the Pork Plume will give you the Shark Fang and Mystery Bones, for example. So each monster will give you different drops, and you should actually take your time to hunt all of these down to find out what they drop. For example, here you can see the Pirigil says unknown because I haven't done that, but the Vespoid, you can see Vespoid Wing, Vespoid Shell, Monster Fluid, and Honey as well. Now, another thing some of you might not know is that when you're hunting down materials, some of them actually have a glow. For example, if you see a herb in the distance, and it's just a normal general herb, no glowing to it, it's actually just a regular herb, but you might find a herb that actually has like a bit of a silver sparkle on top of it. This will drop more materials than the regular herbs, so I like to think of them as like a shiny, special version of the resource that you can pick up. I've seen these with bone piles as well, and ore minerals. These are just like the best ones to actually do, so when you're hunting around, keep a sharp eye out for any sparkles. When you come to your tent or your camp, you'll be able to come over to the barbecue menu and click on rest. Now, this is where you can change the season and also the time of day. You'll need to change the time of day to find certain monsters, to find certain creatures, if you're fishing or just hunting down certain bugs and stuff. But the seasons will also change as well. For example, if you go into the season of plenty, this is where things have grown. So you're going to find more plants, you're going to find more smaller creatures that you're going to need to fish or hunt down just to use your capture net on. That's the best time. The middle one, the fallow season, this is where certain monsters will spawn in as well, like the Gypceros, that only spawns during the fallow season. And of course, if you go into the last one, this is where you're going to find more of the harder monsters and more of the apex type monsters as well. So every season will have a different effect in the game, so you should just be aware of that. Now, one mistake I've made in this game is I've actually kind of ignored talismans. Talismans are actually insane in the game, so you really don't want to do the mistake that I've done until I got into high rank, where I started just like using these charms now. These charms will literally make and break some builds, and they're just a big help overall. For example, we can see here the Exploiter Charm 1. If I went out and farmed a few more Rathian pieces and Chatacabra pieces, I could then get a charm that gives me Weakness Exploit level 1. These are basically free armor skills, and some of them are actually fantastic. Like, you can get full-on resistances for certain elements, even things like Stamina Surge as well, because I use a bow, so this would be fantastic. The Fitness Charm is also another great one because of things like Constitution on it. There are tons of really great charms that you can have on your build, so you want to make sure you're actually building into a charm that you need for your weapon or your build in general. Now, while we're by Gemma, you can see you can actually forge Palico equipment. You want to make sure you're actually keeping your Palico upgraded, because the weapons your Palico have do certain things. They do different attack types, which a monster is weak against. For example, a monster might be weaker against blunt damage or weak against severing. But some of these weapons will also come across different elements and even status effects. For example, here, the new Udra feline weapon will do blunt damage, but it'll also do 20 fire damage, whereas something like the Nasilla weapon will actually apply sleep, which is just incredible. So keeping your Palico up to date is one of the best things you can do in the game, so make sure you don't forget to actually upgrade your Palico. This is the same for low rank and also high rank, which you can see I've actually kind of abused the high rank Palico. I need to start upgrading my Palico literally today already, which is what I'll be working on next. It's just a good example on how you should not neglect your Palico like I have. While you're going through low rank, honestly, it really doesn't matter what you're using. A number of people actually went through the entire campaign just using the Hope Armor, because Hope Armor is very strong with the Divine Blessing skills. I absolutely love that, and obviously any food buffs. So as you're playing through the game, if you start dying, just upgrade your armor to like whatever the best thing is you can unlock. If you start taking too long to kill a monster, just upgrade your armor. It really doesn't matter about what you're picking in low rank until you get to high rank. That's when armor skills and armor actually matters most. So during the campaign in low rank, just use whatever you think looks cool. Just use whatever you think actually feels good to use. It really doesn't matter in the early game. Now, while you're in your tent or out in the wild as well, you can use your cooking pot. You should always make meals. This is going to give you more health, it's going to give you more stamina, it's going to give you more buffs and food skills. For example, if we come to grill a meal, you'll have 3 options: your recommended meal, custom meal, and favorite meals. You should always try to go with custom meal. This is where you can build the perfect meal for your build. So here we can pick ration, where meat will give you +2 attack, fish will give you defense, and veggies will give you defense and element resistance. So let's say we want to increase our attack. We can then pick our additional ingredients, and this will do all sorts of stuff. For example, here we have the Deli Shroom. This will give us Black Belt Meal, which greatly reduces stamina depletion when performing stamina draining moves such as evading, etc., which is perfect for a bow build. Then we can add some finishing touches, which will be some other ingredient that also gives you buffs. So we can have something like the Wild Seed Oil, which increases the potency of abnormal status attacks, or whatever else we want. This is going to be the best way to make meals in the game, because you can literally fine-tune a meal to your exact build. Once you find a meal you like though, you can actually save these into your favorite meals. You can see here, you actually get 40 slots to save your favorite meals, so you're never going to run out of slots to save the meals you like for your build. It's just a great way of doing this. Now, while we're on the topic of food, if you actually notice that while you're playing the game, there are certain characters you'll meet and you'll actually start building up a reputation with, and they will offer you a meal. For example, if you can see here in the ruins of Wyveria, we can see like a little food symbol. This is because on the actual game, right now for me, Tashin would like to offer you a meal. So you could actually just hop there and head over to the area. This will then give you a nice meal that will give you quite a few buffs and also the same, but obviously it's not using your resources. So as you can see here, we're then just using the meal invitation. It'll say a few things, and you can see here, it even pops up a tutorial the first time you do this. meal invitations. As you go closer to villagers, they may offer you a meal. These meals will give you a longer lasting and more effective stat boost than just using the barbecue grill. Now these will pop up just as you're playing through the game. They'll also give you a bunch of different food skills and obviously longer lasting buffs. So instead of the 50 minutes when we actually cook a meal, it will give you a 60-minute buff, for example, so we can just say thank you, and we get to watch a really funky cutscene of us eating and cooking, which is really cool. Now these will just appear whenever you're playing the game randomly in all the different areas you've been to, so unfortunately there's no way to always just get one of these whenever you need it. You will have to still cook manually using your camp or tent or your barbecue grill. But when these do pop up, make sure to make the most of them because they are fantastic. Now, another thing that you might miss while playing Monster Hunter Wilds is that when you're fighting a monster, even if you've had a meal, you'll start to notice your stamina bar is going down. Now, when your stamina bar is going down, this actually means your character is hungry. You still have the effects of the food you ate, even though it's like, you know, a 50-minute buff, but your stamina is still going down. You will be hungry. So what you want to do is open up your menu and get into your items pouch, and you want to just start eating any rations or well-done steak that you may have on your character. This will then start to fill your stamina bar back all the way to 100%. It's a cool little tip, and a lot of players do miss out on this one, which is something that I did until I got into higher rank. This is when I finally learned this tip, so make sure you guys are doing this right away from the start of the game. Now, one thing you might actually have missed out on in the game is that you can find these things called crowns. Now, a crown will either be like the smallest monster you found or a highest one, and this is usually like an achievement hunter thing that people do. So for example, this Doshiguma, this is a gold crown showing it's the highest one or the biggest one. And then for example, the Hirobami has a silver one, which is the smallest one. Now, if you're an achievement hunter looking for crowned monsters, there's an actual easy way of doing this. So what you want to do is open up your item pouch and head over to the binoculars. The binoculars in this game are actually one of the best tools for this, because you can literally just pull them out and scan a monster and you'll see that it is a crown. For example, this Quamatrice right in front of me is a golden crown Quamatrice, so I should actually hunt this down right now because that will be great for achievement hunting. So another quick tip I have for you all is actually to do with your sacred. So if you still don't know at this point, you can actually press up on your D-pad if you're using controller, and your sacred will automatically run to whatever objective you have marked on the map. It's pretty cool and it's pretty nice, and it just makes traveling a bit more easier, especially when you're following a monster when it's decided to run to the other side of the map. The pathing can be a little bit awkward for you to figure out, so just press up on the D-pad and you'll do that very easily. Now, if you do want to manually run around the map and go hunting resources, you can then press down on the D-pad and you can actually control the sacred in manual mode to wherever you want. You can get it to stop, you can get it to go left, right, forward. You can get it to go anywhere whenever you like. There's no awkward movement with it. It basically goes where you tell it, and it's brilliant. Now, in a hunt, you'll actually notice that you may see something about a supply pack being added to your sacred, or just being added in general. So usually whenever you enter a mission, they will give you a few items that will actually help you with that mission. So the way to access that is by pressing left on the D-pad. So you'll see the sacred will come up here. Because I'm not in a mission, it will say no supply items on the right hand side, but if I was, it would open up a menu where I can move items from the supply pouch into my actual item pouch, which is pretty cool. Now, another cool thing with Monster Hunter Wilds compared to previous ones is that Monster Hunter Wilds allows you to have two weapons at once. You'll have one weapon equipped on you, and you'll have a second one holstered on your sacred. So to swap this at any point, you can just press right on the D-pad, and this will then bring the sacred to you and also swap your weapons to whatever your second weapon is. So you can see here I've got the greatsword. If I press right on the D-pad again, it will then change back to the bow. It's just a very nice way of doing things. So if you do fight a monster where you want to swap up your weapon because you're getting a bit bored, you can just do it this way very easily. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you guys found these advanced tips and tricks very helpful, and if you have learned something new, let me know what you learned exactly in the comments below. I'd love to know what actually caught you off by surprise, and just thank you so much for watching the videos so far. I've had a ton of fun making videos for you guys on Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm going to continue doing this for a while, and I'd also like to let you know that I do have a public Discord where I'm trying to build up a really cool Monster Hunter Wilds community that help each other with the event quests and just the game in general. So it'd be awesome, and if you do like the sound of that, please make sure you join the Discord with the link in the description of this video. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you again in the next one.